staring through the haze. Kids lost screaming in the system's maze. Lies unfold behind paper-thin walls, stealing hope, ripping dreams, all the calls. Gunning for justice, we won't back down. Fighting for the lost in every broken town. Judges blind, caseworkers turn their eyes. Lift your fist, scream, their lies won't paralyze. Families they shatter with the stroke of a pen. Truth buried deep, oh here we go again. Gunner's voice pounding, raising up the fight. Justice ain't a whisper, it's a battle tonight. Gunning for justice, we won't back down. Fighting for the lost in every broken town. Judges blind, caseworkers turn their eyes. Lift your fist, scream, their lies won't paralyze. Families they shatter with the stroke of a pen. Truth buried deep, oh here we go again. Gunner's voice pounding, raising up the fight. Justice ain't a whisper, it's a battle tonight. System cracks, red tape wins tight, but the spirit won't break, even in the night. From the ashes, the cry gonna rise up strong. With every heartbeat, it fuels the song. Corruption crawls, spreading like a fire. But passion burns hotter, crawling up higher. The system ain't ready for the storm that's us. One by one, we're breaking their rust. Corruption crawls, spreading like a fire. But passion burns hotter, crawling up higher. The system ain't ready for the storm that's us. One by one, we're breaking their rust.
Hey look, this for every mama got her baby snatched on some bogus shit. For every pops they locked out the crib like he ain't blood. CPS, y'all been eating off pain for too long. We know what you on, but now it's war, this gunning foe, CPS. Kick doors, no warrants, they taking our seeds. Say it's neglect, but they planting they greed. Feds in they pocket, judge got a fee. Run it like a business, adoption spree. Contracts overseas, got partners in France. But shorty from Shy, he ain't get a chance. Mama work 2 jobs, daddy do right, but they still snatch his baby in the middle of the night. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Suffer Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They labeled us monsters, called us unfit, but it's they paperwork dirty, all of it forged and flipped. How the fuck they selling babies to a bidder overseas? Then tell the fam you unworthy. Man, please, we got mamas in pain, daddies in tears. They breaking our hearts, been doing it for years. Now we riding with Gunner, and we got the sworn under oath. Now it's time for truth. Trump got the team and the pen in his hand. He said bring them home. Now that's the plan. You feds been hiding, but it's over now. We moving like an army, and we ain't bowing down. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's off of Davis popping, and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring her back. Hey look. This for every mama got her baby snatched on some bogus shit. For every
Well, who we gonna piss off today? That's right. Welcome to another special edition of Who We're Gonna Piss Off Today. The thing that actually took in this same platform that got us banned permanently from TikTok platform and other platforms and being shadow banned. Welcome to another edition of Gunning for CPS. I'm your host, Gunner, and I want to welcome you this evening as we take and educate you and give you the information that you've been looking forward to, fill in the blanks of stuff that you may be aware of or you not may be aware of that affects how the world around us is shaped and how our constitutional rights are being violated and how CPS uses loopholes and other things that they take and do to steal and traffic children from families. Yes, when we say those things, they say, hey, you better watch out. You're going to get sued for that. It kind of not really, not when you've got the evidence in a federal case that's getting ready to prove every single bit of this. We've got some special guests for you guys tonight. And I want you guys to welcome our good friend, Mr. Henry. Come on out here. Let's get this going.
Hello, Gunner. Hello,
And
Gunner.
tell us a little bit about your show, because Henry's one of our other hosts on one of our other show that focuses in specifically on ADA issues.
Right. And what your statement was, and you forgot to say how their families with disabilities are being tortured. Perceived disabilities. That's the one I love the best. When somebody perceives you as a disability, then they got to identify what it is and what can be used to help overcome that disability. So when you take it and look at these cases, it's not only in the CPS, but it's also in the Department of Developmental Services in your state. And we're just really saddened by this whole situation. And I just wanted to take a minute, too, to say this is my background for today. I stole it from Danielle. She gave a post out the other day, and I saw it. And I knew one day it would be a great thing to have because, like, I don't know if everybody's paying attention this weekend. It seems all the groups are at war, and it just doesn't make sense to me, man. It's not about us. It's about protecting those that we can protect. And if we, through me and you talking or somebody else talk about our fundamental rights, and somebody gets a little information off it, my guess, it's what our rights are, to know what the laws are that we have to comply with. And if we're not willing to have open talks by the Bar Association, which wants to keep everything double secret agent so they can make their killing, it's just a matter of what we got to do with life. And I've been going through some hard times lately. I just lost my mother, so that's half the reason why my shows have been screwed up. But we're going to start hammering this shit out now. I'm pretty much sick of what the system is. You've even proven it now in the elderly justice division of our probate courts, how corrupt it is. And again, this is where I'm begging people who can hear our voices. We all got to band together, and we all got to carry a certain weight. And I don't give a shit who gets there, because I'll be the first one to say thank you and give them $100 and give them a gold plaque if that's what it's about. I don't think it's about that.
No.
Well,
Henry, let's go ahead and introduce our other guest here tonight, too. Is actually we have Miss Becca. We've brought her in here. And we're looking at the funny little screen here that her picture's not there. And maybe she'll join us because she was in the midst of 1,000 things. But our topic tonight that we don't want people to miss is this thing that the USDA has confirmed. It's all over news stations now. That there will not be any federal benefits for SNAP. It will not be funded by the federal government, and how this impacts the families and what it could mean and what could transpire because of that cut, cause and effect. One, through the court systems, number two, through CPS. Now, we've discussed this several things on our page that we feel that, and you guys can check this out, that you realize they're going to look innocent, as CPS always does. That, hey, there's these food banks and stuff, but a lot of these have been underfunded as well too, and church organizations, everything that they get here locally, there's Second Harvest, but even it's been notified that Second Harvest has not had the supplies they have to give out to the multiple different locations and organizations that do things for nonprofits, such as handing out food that they buy actually from that Second Harvest Food Bank, or things that are donated. One thing I always notice, I actually wanted to investigate a part of this and check out some of these things. And a lot of them, the requirements they have for it is you have to come in and sign your name, and usually your address, your phone number, and some other disclosing information. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate for you guys. What if a social worker donates their time to these places and then take pictures of these lists of people that are coming in, getting benefits, helping the community to survive? And let me get this straight. Let me make this very clear. These programs were set out to help and aid people in need, keep families together. Matter of fact, if we go under Social Security Act of 1935 under purpose, which is its goal or its aspiration, it must meet, which it does not, to receive these funds under Title IV, is the goal is to keep families together and to take single moms and drive them towards a family driven environment, or getting them to get married and having a family unit, is what these funds are supposed to be used for. But what does it take for a social worker to take advantage of the situation, volunteering in these places? You just take a picture of one page and you've got 20 people in there, 30 people. That's enough for, and understand there's multiple of these around your counties. And it only takes one. I'm just here to volunteer. Now they have a whole list of people that they can say, because once again, anonymous, well, we got a report that you're unable to feed your child or support your family. Now, we've seen this done where I'm from in East Tennessee. We've already seen this during the recent floods, both in North Carolina and East Tennessee, where the Red Cross and several others came through, and CPS came through in the aft of a natural disaster and didn't offer to help, other than say your house is gone, you have no food, you have no shelter, and everything else, and you're living off of in these tents, which is not good enough according to our standards. Not with a loophole that's been put in there for natural disasters that should be in there. That now we're going to come and steal your children.
Yep.
So what does this mean with the SNAP thing? Because we're looking at this happening and people going back and forth looking for resources. What are they going to do? Because if people haven't looked at the statistics, a largest majority of SNAP benefit holders, and I'm not going to say, and it's not a color issue, we're going to deal with this in a different perspective, but it's single moms. Oh. Now, what could this mean?
Single moms and disabled people, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'm seeing the majority, according to the statistics, once again, of Department of Health and Human Services on the national website, that the percentage of people, the largest percentage of people that receive SNAP benefits are single moms. Now, it goes even beyond this, and I hate to hurt feelings. These are just facts. But they also have multiple children from multiple fathers.
Yeah.
Ow.
You only have one.
Now, what impact? Now, we've already covered the impact of CPS could be dirty to come in and step in and say, let me take those children. But now you still have to deal with the fathers. The fathers, the court systems. Well, now, hold on. Let's play devil's advocate here. The court systems that have usually predominantly ruled in the mother's favor, that now these fathers can go back into these courtrooms, these family courtrooms, and say, she doesn't have the government support.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving for full custody of the child.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a reality we're going to have to take
into consideration.
and look at it. And Janine Catlin, I get that there's laws that say that, but they don't follow a damn code or statute as it is. Because let me tell you something, I came through a thing, and if you guys don't know, as far as the update in my case, we have our case before the appellate court because they wouldn't allow cross-examination, which is under the rules of evidence in Tennessee, to enter a forensic interview. And we've turned in evidence to the CPS caseworker, not by our accord, but by a member of the Bar Association that committed perjury in the courtroom, knocking out the complete case and getting ready to have this thing overturned. So when we're telling you guys our case is the tip of the spear and going into the federal, why? Because we can prove when the state overturns this, and they will, that's proving that they didn't allow due process. That's the corruption of the court systems. That we were able to expose that in our case, and it's going to be huge moving forward. But moving back to everybody else to go through now, go into the court system. As soon as mama doesn't get her SNAP benefits, all these single dads and everything that's been fighting with baby mama can now go schedule to get into the courts in November and go, I want the kid. How is this going to impact our communities and everything else, let alone, let's take a step further. Did you guys know that Walmart was actually shutting their doors and employees only in certain areas and only doing curbside pickup, not allowing people in the stores so they couldn't steal and rob the stores?
That's new society.
And you know what's even crazier? You know, you said about the benefit, like, and here's the thing, then the court will use it against the mother or whoever who defends themselves against the father who now wants the child, you know, magically because benefits have stopped. But now they'll claim that you only want the kid for the benefits.
Exactly.
My word.
But now what does that do? Because then that becomes what? A crime of fraud and defraudment.
Mm-hmm.
Which now opens our courts open if people are smart with a lot of these things. I'm telling you, they're going to flip this stuff out, and then some of these dads can turn around and charge child neglect and abuse, because it's not just SNAP benefits, guys. They're going after Section 8. Now mama don't have a place to live.
Right, but with the Section 8 aspect of it, and again, for purpose of 1935, it says that the government should be helping somebody like that in a situation to be retraining them for a job for life. And I agree with you. It shouldn't be
funds are cut off.
18 years, get to sit on your ass, whether you're a parent or non-parent, you know what I mean? Because I sure as hell don't sit on my ass taking care of a profound autistic child today. And again, it's just, you know, they got you running 24/7. Then you got your own problems, man. My problems still go to the back burner. This is 21 years later. I mean, seriously, when do I get relief? When he gets into the institution, the state takes him for $300,000 a year. It's again zero.
But not when there's no money. There's the other thing.
It's money for their playbook. It's money for their
playbook. And they're going to try those loopholes. Right. I agree with you, Henry. I agree with you 100%. They're going to do that. But
because I don't think the subcontractors can automatically throw off the switch and say, oh, the government ain't sending me a check. We can't take care of it. Sort of like the air traffic control guys.
Once again,
can't walk out. They do without a check.
I agree. But some states have said they will float it for so long.
So I know what about this idea?
Said, hey, listen, if they don't fund it, they'll do this.
What about this idea that this is the camel that broke the straw's back? Again, in other words, fuck it. If you guys want to turn around and not come to the table and let's talk, we got threat of wars, we got threat of Martians. If you believe in the 3I bullshit, whether it's real or non-real, we just got so much shit and problems. This is a joke. Turn around, open the government, and let's talk. This is stupid.
And there's been other things.
It's sort of like our groups. Let's all get together and talk.
I agree. And there's other stories that have been breaking about Israel. Now, if you don't know about Israel and the way it's structured, you have those that are religious people. And then you have what are called the Zionists. Okay. The Zionists are about the propaganda, the this and that, about the control, the manipulation. Their belief system is if you're not of this particular race or bloodline, you're below them. You can be and say it's very similar to a lot of things that the Quran teaches
Right.
and a lot of the
That's my
Muslim faith believes is that's an
yep.
extreme, and these are called sects. In other words, and listen, even here in America, they don't believe in this. Well, we don't have sex. Yes, you do. Look at the Baptists. How many different First Baptist, Second Baptist, Missionary Baptist? They're all different sects.
Look after
Of the
the
same
banking
religion.
industry. The banking industry is based off the fucking Sharia law. Come on.
Yeah.
What
and
we
it's
borrow
not
our money
just
from, the whole
now
stock
listen,
market, everything.
it's not just Sharia law. See, we've used that and put that over on that. That is also a Zionist Jewish belief of the money and control. This is one of the things we're finding out of history that was repressed also. This same organization was trying to overthrow Germany.
And
most people,
did you hear the
most
conspiracy theories on what Trump's trying to do now? We're going to go digital and quickly turn it to the gold standard again and remove
the QFS system. Yeah, I've
debt. I'm like, come on, really?
Listen,
too much money to be made in digital and too much control.
Here. America's not broke. America's far from broke. The problem is the people that are in control of the systems that should not have, rather than we're in control of all of our money, including trusts that are taken out in our name. It's already been confirmed that the Social Security system, that the Federal Reserve took out trusts in our name for lending and borrowing based off of a labor unit.
Right.
I mean, we know these things are true. They have been proven. We've even come to the point it's been proven, and even people in Congress have admitted the IRS is voluntary.
Right. You know,
but the thing is, it's not portrayed.
We ought to have like John Bloom and Billy come in and talk about that, because I know they're very, very strong control and roll on that subject. And again, you know, it'd be it's a whole another 2-hour conversation on the whole.
Oh, absolutely.
All this. It's easy.
But let's go back to our original topic of
when's Becca going to come on and start talking?
I know, start talking here. She's been silent. She's probably still feeding her kids, or something that's going on. But listen, how is this going to affect her? What do you see that CPS could do to manipulate this situation besides what we've talked about? How many suggestive things or possibilities because we look at that they could use this situation to benefit them? Because understand this, Title IV in Social Security is not interrupted. We need to remember that they are very well funded and very well protected.
Right.
So what other ways do you think that they could manipulate this situation of, like Tennessee's got a program, if you absolutely need help, call in or do this number or go on this website, and you're just volunteering for signing up. When you sign up for those programs, you're signing up for those social services systems, whether you know it or not, but they're not disclosing it.
Right.
Which means CPS is going to come in. So I mean, what other things do you guys see? I mean, whether it's because every state's different to how they're structured, but how do we see other states? Like, I know you're from Connecticut and Becca's from Ohio. I know a lot of our audience out there is from different states and so on and so forth. You guys, even in the comments, what do you see in your state in the comments here of how do you see your state, using this, your CPS system, because they look for these loopholes. They look for this is prime hunting territory for them now in November. Prime. I mean, what do you guys see, Becca? What about you? What do you see in Ohio happening?
Right now, I see just everybody kind of panicking. I mean, really. I mean, everybody, these elections and stuff are just, they're all coming and they're looking for it. It's getting to be a little bit crazy, but I mean, CPS, yes. I mean, I 100% do believe that they will be in, in people, like I said, because that happened to my husband specifically. I mean, they literally stated in court that he was trying to keep his children for the benefits.
Yeah.
But that wasn't even, and literally that wasn't even mentioned, the fact that he literally was keeping his.
Okay, so let's go into that court situation. And I'm going to ask you this question. When that was said, did he have an attorney?
No.
Okay. This is where I'm going to teach you guys something a little bit about the court system. That's where you use the words objection, Your Honor, produce substantiated evidence that holds truth,
Mm-hmm.
or hearsay, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what we don't understand. A lot of people don't understand about our court systems. Silence is golden. If it's not objected to, if
Here's
it's
the
not
kicker.
called out, it's considered fact in the court.
Here's the kicker. You did object, and you know what the judge said, or the magistrate said? Do you have Do you have a legal objection, sir?
Hearsay.
Hearsay wasn't illegal. Wasn't. I kid
Well,
you not.
it's well, then you back it up because they're going to. That's where they push you in legalese,
Mm-hmm.
because you got to back up why it's hearsay. Your Honor, there's been no simple, Your Honor. It's evidence, and there's been no evidence to support what they have said as fact. Therefore, it is hearsay.
Yep.
But if you don't know to say that in a courtroom, and how
Mhm.
many of your attorneys you've heard bullshit that they should have said hearsay, that they don't, that they have to have a reason for. This is why one of the tricks of the court system or the courts is you have to answer fast. Otherwise, you ever notice how fast they push things?
Oh yeah. It's like
It's
boom, boom,
because
boom,
they
boom.
don't want you time, and you turn around. Now we could use what Henry does and go, Your Honor, and you can object later, even through what you're, Your Honor, ADA.
Mhm.
I can't absorb things that fast, and you're going to have to work with me because the court has to accommodate my disability.
With effective communication.
Oh, did you hear that, guys?
With effective communication.
The burden is on the court to make sure you understand.
They
and
have
it's
an
clearly
affirmative
communicated.
obligation to identify. An
Right there.
affirmative, those are the words. Affirmative obligation to identify.
And you can stop and say, object. And they're like, what do you object? Your Honor, I'm objecting to the previous statement. Well, we've gone on from there. Your Honor, ADA.
Right.
Objection under ADA premise law.
Well,
You have to accept it, Your Honor. Even if we have to go back, I can't retain or move that fast or anything else like that. It has to go on the record. Now, here's the other thing I tell people. 90% of your thing, well, they did this in court, or they didn't have this and that. Okay, did you have your paperwork in as exhibits to substantiate
Bend over.
your claim?
Yeah, there you go, buddy.
How many of you out there have gone in and that, well, they this, will they that? Did you enter evidence as exhibits or videos or this or that? And here's the thing. Don't wait during the court. Now, Becca and I have had several conversations about that. Don't wait till your damn hearing.
No, God, no.
Go before your hearing, go to that court clerk and put that damn shit on the court record.
Mm-hmm.
Before court. It's already in there, Your Honor. I'm going to pull from that resource. Because when you go to,
like,
well, at the same time, Becca will tell you the same thing as we've talked about federal courts. The federal court standard is this. You have to have so much to get your case in. Then you have it so many weeks out from your actual hearing. This is how they give you enough time. State courts don't. This is your time right here that by this time, so many weeks out, you have to have what? Your discovery in. What you're going to use, your exhibits, everything else. You got to have your witness list in by a certain time, so many weeks out, and this and this and that. But they don't tell you that in state court because they don't give you that guideline. And by them not giving you that schedule or having a schedule alone, Henry, that's an ADA violation.
I got lucky in my housing issue, and they actually they literally sent me a scheduling order on the 21st. Yeah, I got a scheduling order for my Section 8 issue. So I was lucky. I was fortunate. I was like, uh-oh. And I was surprised that they moved the due date out till January.
Yeah.
Which I was very surprised.
Well, now let's look at Alicia. Alicia says that even though evidence was entered by my husband, the judge still wouldn't look at it or listen to him. Well, great. As soon as they issue, here's your next step. When your judge issues something, during that thing, this is what the appellate court is for. I'm going to explain the appellate court. They do not get anybody that's a representative of the case. The case is already done or they've already made a ruling. when they make a ruling or the judge says, hey, I'm going to take your kids. Did you know that you can go to the state court of appeals and appeal that ruling without having a
Yep.
judgment?
Anything that is, it's a whole appeal.
Anything they do a written order on, you have the right to go to the appellate court and challenge it. Now, listen, it's not whether it's right or wrong. You have to cite, if it's in the state, you have to cite the state code and how they did not, and articulate how the code was not followed in your own words. It's not just they did me wrong or they violated my constitutional rights. No, you can quote that, but like in my
But
case,
you gotta have the information to back it up.
well, and here's the case in my case. You didn't allow cross-examination. A matter of fact, the first magistrate had no cross-examination whatsoever. Under the judge in civil court, now this is what gets you, that my attorney actually says, are they going to present, the person or the child for cross-examination? And the judge turned around and goes, no, if you didn't put it on your witness list, that's on you. You don't get to call the child as a witness. Hold on now. Under your state code, the word is cross-examination. If I put it on my witness list, I'm not cross-examining. The judge interpreted the code or manipulated the code to fit their perspective. The attorney was like, are we going to have this? It's not on their witness list. Why is it not here? Was what he was questioning. And then the attorney or the judge turns around, specifically says this. And then on top of that, while that was going on, the GAL for the child told not only my wife, but also my wife's attorney, don't bring those kids into this courtroom. Now, the previous magistrate had given explicit instructions when the case was adjudicated under that corrupt magistrate, turn around and said, you must follow everything else that the GAL takes and tells you what to do. Now, understanding during the first time under the magistrate, the GAL had zero contact with the children whatsoever and completely worked for CPS. How can you represent somebody you've never met?
Yeah.
Because even after the case, that GAL was emailing my attorney. Can you send me over this? Can you send me over this stuff that should have been done before even the hearing or anything else was done?
Because they all cut corners. They all try to cut corners and try to get it moving way faster. They stipulate, and that's literally is their way around everything.
Now,
and I'm telling you, you can more than likely do a motion to vacate.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
A lot of the stuff you can go in, but you have to quote Kurtz. Now, Janique Allen's done something saying that her daughter's attorney has requested them to do this and do that in the appellate court. Listen, you do not need an attorney to file in the appellate court. You can file it pro se.
Correct.
100%. Even ADA violations, throw all that in there in your appeal.
You have to. It's a due process violation, and actually the ADA gives you authority to go right to federal court underneath their 11th immunity was removed in a Puerto Rico case. Again, anyone just got to Google my name, and you'll find my briefs, my complaints.
Yeah, Henry.
That would be great.
All starts there.
And Henry shows every Saturday on our network, man. Go check this out and get connected, guys, because this ADA thing, it strips them of their immunity immediately.
Have you ever heard Congress hear about parental rights? Have you ever heard of Congress say, oh, we believe parents are being discriminated. Let's fund that specially to end the discrimination. As a matter of fact, we're going to create administrative duties for the states to implement prophylactic protections with strictest scrutiny when dealing with the disabled. And they must give modifications that best ensure that the disabled has the best success in the program, service, or activity, or upon their request, what modification would work appropriate for their needs. Nobody's getting this. It's real simple words written in simple language. And again, the states are being funded, and yet they're not adhering to their own duties.
And listen, and the other thing Henry will tell you, and let me put this plug in here. You don't have to explain what your disability is. The only thing you have to say is, prove
You
to
do
me
have to.
it's done. I didn't get it. Because it's required for them, both the court clerk and the judge or magistrate, to make sure everybody in that courtroom is on equal playing ground. Now, they're going to claim, once
Hold
again,
on, Gunnar. No,
an
no. There is both an affirmative obligation on both behalf.
correct?
You don't have to claim if you're not looking for anything, but if you're not looking for anything and you don't say nothing, well, then how does it become discrimination if their ignorance is allowed to be played out, that you don't want nothing? Again, they have to be on the lookout, sort of like they're saying somebody who's having a language barrier or a sight barrier, or think of it that way when you're looking at hitting disabilities.
The federal court, and I know Becca's seen this too, when you file and you're accepted pro se, they will give you a thing of pro se thing. And it actually says in there, if you need anything from the court, disability wise, or this or that, or things you need for the court when it comes closer to your hearing, or you need any of those things, they encourage you to speak up. That's called notification. Okay. But that's in a whole separate packet that you're not freaking out about, that has nothing to do with your case or nothing. It's a whole separate sheet of paper that talks about this stuff.
No. You know how you walk into the court and you see the big sign, this way to clerk's office?
Right.
You should be seeing a sign saying this way to the ADA office. ADA.
No. I'm
That's
not.
The way it all reads, because again, it should be publicly known, publicly published, publicly identifiable.
Yes.
Sort of like ADA signs are, like when you pull up to where a reserve spot is.
Absolutely. And like I said,
they have to give identification, bro.
Yeah. No notification. We have those things. And we can give you those things. Like you said, it's like a notification saying, if you have something or you think it is something, these are the directions you go. Just get in contact with me. More than happy to.
And you interact with them. You cannot play totally ignorant. If they say, "Oh, you got a doctor," then screw it. You got to go get a doctor's evaluation, but you ain't going to their doctor. No. You're going to your treating doctor who's treating you. And again, if the doctor doesn't see the condition, they'll refer you to somebody else that might be an expert in this alleged field of badness that you are. That doesn't make you a good parent.
Now, let me give everybody a juicy little nugget on this one, and this is why. Your Honor, I don't really understand my rights and everything else because of public education, because I was never taught cursive. Well, it's translated this and that.
Re-say that again, because
I have a disability that I can't read in the original language what those documents say that are about my rights. Now they'll say, well, it's been converted this. Well, how do I know that it's accurate if I can't read the original documents? How do I know that those haven't been messed with or anything else? Can you guarantee of this, or what guarantee? Once again, you're pushing them to provide the author, the certification or some kind of certificate or something saying it's 100% accurate. It's like a translation, if you will. Mm-hmm. In other words, how many words are lost or phrases lost in translation?
Right.
We've heard that before, right?
Right.
Now, what does that do for cursive? Well, they substituted a word that's more recent or common, but doesn't have the same meaning. Listen, you can go back to the Declaration of Independence, and there's a lot of words in there we don't use in our language anymore.
No more. Has a totally different meaning.
And we don't know the definition, but we need to have the ability to look it up and understand and comprehend it, is what they're saying. Right. If I don't comprehend everything or understand every word that it's in there or phrase, I'm not getting all my rights.
That's why you got to take everything back to the original intent.
There we go.
The original intent. And again, we're back to the 4D funding, I believe. And again, the purpose. And again, I really, don't think this is no more than a call out this week just to get the boys back to the table. The shit's got to open. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we got too many things going on, that needs Congress's attention. Enough is enough.
Right.
They want to play this hillbilly bullshit.
Well, listen, it's not just Congress, though. This is the thing that we've been dealing with, too. This is not a Congress issue. This is saying that the people that rule over us do this. It's about we, the people.
Right.
This is where we need
another
to
action to
step
stall
up.
out the plan, because if the steamrolling ship of the Doge and the theory of knocking over, I don't know about around you, but there's some judges getting busted up in Massachusetts. There's shit going down. People's eyes are opening to what is going on here, guys. And this is where back to my feeling, the uniteness of all of us. I mean, seriously.
That's what they fear, is us coming together and actually being educated, not just together, but able to articulate and have the knowledge to apply it and have a not just a conversation, but a debate over it. They don't even want us at the debate table.
No.
Do you guys do
they
realize
lost.
that? Which
They
is
lost.
why you need an attorney. But when you don't need an attorney,
Thursday's court hearing, I told the judge to swear in the attorney. He's got no allegiance to my constitution. He's only pledged to the courts and to the British Bar Association, and their mouths dropped about hit the floor. And again, I got the judge to admit it's an administrative, hearing. And again, then why aren't you complying with your ADA? How do you not know this? How do you not know you have to comply with this? Have you done a self-evaluation, Your Honor? And again,
because now
what's your
Henry,
job description and job title,
let's-
what effective training have you had underneath the ADA? This is how strong it is, guys.
Okay, Henry, let's address that. And let's address this the right way. Now, as a tradesperson, like I said, I know you are, and I know I am.
I see where you're
Okay.
going.
We have something called what? Continued education.
You got it. So don't think.
And it's required.
You got it.
Required to upkeep our license. So why doesn't a judge that sits up there and collect all this stuff not have so many dedicated hours within their schedule because of case law at least once a month? Why? Because federal cases are being adjudicated and decisions being made every day that they must do a review, or the state must pay under the state's program how these rulings will affect your state courts.
Do you know how it's done? Again, they limit the amount of money, even though it's mandated. I watched the bill come in for police training, and it's been mandated since 1990. I think 92 was the first case. I think it was out of Florida, where the state affirmed, or federal government affirmed, that it was a 28-hour training for the police every year on the ADA. And they said the funding had to be there. So it's another 28 hours unless you have other cops on the street. You have to pay another set of cops overtime to go on that street. But the way the courts are doing it is they go into their hobnobbing parties called the AFCC Club, which is for the GALs.
Full dinner, a full
show
spread,
each other how to do the stealing. And again, I've watched silent auctions go on for the Children's Law Center, and their number one contributor was the judge that they're giving kickbacks to through the AFCC. And this is in 2016. What's been redone, guys? Again, I just don't get it. This shit has been proven time and time. It's got to be removed from them. They got to go to jail.
Listen,
we're not going to get any remedy, but I do want jobs and pensions and never to work in the street again.
There are two cases specifically I'm going to mention tonight. White versus Pierce County, okay, and Doe et al. Versus Heck et al.
Okay.
And we've got the case numbers and everything else for it, and you guys can look them up. They're federal cases. These federal cases specifically have already addressed the issues with CPS workers coming to your home. They do not have a right to come into your home without a warrant. A warrant is mandatory, or a court order. Right. It's been ruled. Questioning people on private property is a Fourth Amendment violation under seizure under those cases. So what do? We need to get into your home. We need to check this. We need to do this. We need to do that. Why are you not adhering to federal case law that says that is a constitutional rights violation, let alone they're paying them and training them to do this, to violate rights?
Right.
When the federal courts have already made the decision that your policies and procedures are unconstitutional.
Right.
They're not. Why? Because it makes more profit to prey on the weak and ignorant
Well, how can it
with
not be
less
when you're
chance,
accepting the federal funding for it? How can it not be? This is what I just don't get, that aspect of it.
which
How
should
can
be
it not be?
exactly tied to the Title IV money and everything else.
Funding.
Did you do in this
Accepting.
case in the checklist? Did you meet these requirements? And it's not just for CPS to answer.
Right.
Parents should be taking these surveys whether or not they get paid. Did they have a warrant or court order to come in? Did they question your children on private property?
Mhm.
Were you informed of your rights, that this was something you have a right to say no to come in? Were you threatened or intimidated? This is a survey that should be sent blindly to the parents for accountability. They go straight to the federal government and they don't get paid.
Why isn't it?
Here's the
That's
thing.
my question.
Here's my thing is that, back to the terminology and, all that, like stipulation. Nobody knows in my language and everyday language, everybody says, oh, stipulation. Okay. You got to do something for somebody.
I got a
Well,
good story.
people aren't realizing that stipulation, that's not what that means in normal
Legalese.
in legalese. Like
Legalese.
that is not what that means. When you stipulate, that means you are legally bound. That doesn't mean that's what people aren't realizing.
But at the same
And
time,
that's scary.
Citizens are not supposed to be in these courts unless I have killed somebody or damaged property, which is a criminal act, and restitution must be paid. Otherwise, that's all civil courts are supposed to be for, number one. Number two, civil courts are also for deciding the difference between, and the way that, and the reason they were created was to resolve contract
Business
issues for commercial.
So then
they were never supposed to deal with we the people.
No. But
that brings in the stipulation, because then they start blurring the line in contract law with family law, because a stipulation is a contract.
Right.
And like people were talking the other day about how like
and your marriage is a contract.
Like CPS.
Yeah, but it's between you and your maker and your woman. That's it.
But when you go that's what's called a common law marriage, as they say, and states are not going to recognize that marriage or give you what is called marital privilege unless you hold the license. Now, can you make a license out of a right or anything else? No. And they've used it and manipulated it in saying, now the children are what? Commodities from a business that is splitting, which is exactly how these courts are handling this. You wonder why they're dealing with it the way that they're doing it is because they're considering the marriage license a contract, and that they can get involved to dissolve the contract or separate the assets just like a business splitting and hold you accountable with this and that. But once again, the judges aren't ruling for this or that, or, to this and that. The concept is 50-50. What you had before the marriage, you get to keep. What happened during the marriage, you must negotiate between the two of you, which your judges aren't supposed to adjudicate this shit. He's supposed to tell you, don't come back here till you take and do it. Otherwise, you have to be married. And if one person is not working with them, well, then the judge steps in and goes, you're being unreasonable. And here, let me take and divide. Now, one of the best judges I've ever heard decide and adjudicate the way he has is saying, listen, I'll give you the car you want, but he gets the motor.
Right.
That's 50-50.
That's my plan.
Listen,
that's my plan.
But that's the point of these judges. They're not supposed to be adjudicating. They're supposed to be mediating in these cases.
Right.
Yep,
making and hitting the gold standard of 50-50. But then you have corrupt lawyers. Oh, well, he beats on this. You know what? I don't want to hear. Here's what the judges say. Unless you have a criminal action against this person, shut the fuck up.
That's it.
Have you got them convicted of a crime?
And
no.
That's where
innocent until proven guilty. That is hearsay.
No. And again, that's where, and again, I think, the Family Justice and Accountability Act is going to bring some closure to it. And again, hey, and I want to say something, but I belong to that group, guys, too. And I've never heard Francesca ask anyone for money in my life. There's so much bullshit going on everywhere. And, I
Division
get what's
everywhere
going on
going on.
with one of our guys, and copyright thoughts and the whole 9 yards. And I got to get to the bottom of a lot of things, because I'm telling everybody this is the same damn thing, man. We got months to conquer this hill.
Wait,
Months, dude.
okay,
And
now we
again,
have somebody in the comments, Becca. They want to know how to get in contact with you.
Oh, you can email me. Find me on
You want
Facebook.
to put it in the
Yeah,
comments
I'll put
there
it.
in the thing there? Okay, Becca
Yeah.
could take care of that. Um, I'm agreeing with you 100% with this here, Henry. With these things, that there's a lot of division, but this is how it starts, and why a lot of things don't get done, because a lot of people get to this point or that point, which is one of the foundational things I think that with everything we've done in the reckoning movement, or anything here with gunning for CPS. Listen, there's no money involved. I don't want you to send me anything. I really don't. You can keep it and use it towards somebody in your area, and bless somebody in your area.
Actually, what you could do for us is
to
get
do
on
that.
the show and help
Yeah.
talk some law that's
Yeah.
applied to you and that you found out for corruption. And again, by us eliminating and showing people what to be on the lookout for, they'll eventually the
Yeah.
system will have to break and collapse. And
And-
again,
And
hey,
share our show.
Either way, next week the Dems are going to come to the table, or the system's going to collapse. So DCF can't take our kids, because if they don't have food to feed their own damn kids,
Yeah.
it will be a mass starvation. That's all I'm going to say is, boys and girls, get to know your local farmer, because that's the only thing that's going to save your ass.
And listen, guys, the other thing is too, we love our audience. We love everything you guys do. The best thing you could do for us, or anything you can do for us, is just spread the word, tell your story, encourage people to watch shows like this, and educate yourself and gain the knowledge of things that we're giving out at zero cost. And if you like some of the things like the show, listen, you can go to, once again, and I'll put it up through here, and we've got this stuff through here. If you guys want to do this, I'm going to put it up at the bottom at the scroller, at the ticker down here. You can check us out on Facebook. You can email us here and there. You can go to our network website, CPS, www.cpsbreakingnews.com. We have our own thing there. I'm still working on trying to put together my page. I've got a lot of other things that I'm dealing with. Or if you want to send us something mail, here's the mailing address. And we get people that'll send us cards. Or I've had people send, t-shirts or little things and this and that. If you guys want to send us something little, this is how you do things. We're not asking for it. We're saying if you want the opportunity to do that and bless us with it, we're thankful for those things, even those little cards that are encouraging. You have no idea to where we've gotten something in our box, literally in our mailbox, both Sharon and I, and turn around and say, thank you for what you're doing and sharing your knowledge and this and that, and got it on such a day that was so bleak and down, that it was just a word of encouragement that made a huge difference to us personally. And we encourage you to encourage those around here. But man, that really helped, and we thank you guys for that stuff. Other people, yeah.
CPS Breaking News, CPS Breaking News Center at gmail.com. That one too.
Yeah, all the shows are on there, guys, and we're trying to update all that stuff where it has the time slots and the stuff. And there's a show. I mean, there's people that get on there and design shirts and jerseys and this and that. You can go on there and go shopping if you want. And those proceeds and stuff like that, those go to help support the show, because this does have a cost, to run these shows on these platforms, generally out of pocket from a lot of us that take and pay these things.
It's just big time.
Yeah.
The money ain't the cost, the problem. It's the time that we invest. Because not only do we have to work on our stuff, we have to work, you know what I mean, to get the word out. And, and again, it's crazy how much they want to punish you. And again, somebody will testify to us. I think I got about 9 hours trying to set up a new probate court account, and they're just fucking with you. And this is what they do to you. And again, on top of it, my mother's dying and they're screwing with me.
Yeah. And listen, life doesn't stand still for anybody. And that's something we can all say. I wish I could put this on pause and deal with this a little bit later, and life was just this way or this or that. And that's not the way it goes with this system, because they don't care. There's no heart in this. Why? Because it's just you're just a number. You're just a person. You're just another way for them to take and make money. And we've talked about this upcoming shutdown with the SNAP and everything. We're looking at the courts, fathers taking in, and those that don't have custody or vice versa. For those that are on those systems, the Section 8 and SNAP and everything else, and they're cut off, it does a huge loophole for them to come in, and either CPS is going to get involved, and then because they're going to get their cut. They're going to definitely. Well, hey, since you're transitioning from this one having custody and this one custody, well, we need to do a home visit. We need to make sure you have everything. And they say, no. All that's required, and y'all need to go back and look at what the requirements are for this stuff, and even for foster or kinship care. They don't belong in your house. It's maybe their policy and procedure, as they like to put it, but according to the code and statute, it's not. Only a background check is required because you're family. This is why they want foster care in there, because they get into those places. Those are people that give up their rights and protecting their Fourth Amendment of their home. Why? Because you're considered an employee of the state, and it's a requirement. And this is why, listen, I'm getting advertisements all the time now, especially on Facebook, of even new companies coming up of this, that, oh, we have foster care. We have openings for people in Knoxville and this and that. And every child deserves a good home. Well, why don't you leave them the fuck alone in the home that they're in and take that money that you're shoveling out and everything and give it to the parents and that family and see what a difference that would make? Because I guarantee you an influx of $5,000 to $6,000 a month would make a huge difference in a family struggling.
And the states would be saving probably $280,000 per month on per case, right?
Huge amounts of savings.
Huge amounts.
At the same time, you're not
that
just
means
looking
DCF
at
workers go home, they don't have a job, it's all done.
They don't have insurance, they don't have the dental that nobody else has got, or some of the other things that they may take an offer that we're paying for.
I think it's really going to get hurting, boys and girls, because again, I'm hearing from another club that there's a person that supposedly January is when they're estimating this shutdown to be over with. They're estimating January.
Listen, it's not just the shutdown. It's not just about Congress and the House and the Senate and some of these other things. There is so much, and we broke that on this show too, as the administration came back and everything else and the things that were going on and coming back into the second term of what we have as our current sitting president, and knew that they were going to start peeling the onion. For the 4 years of the previous administration, we were under military jurisdiction that a lot of people didn't understand. We were under military control, which is why you never saw that president, we'll call it, if you will, never did anything, and never really had any presidential powers. And there's a lot.
Wow, Mike, Michelle, this is a while. Look at the size of that post. It's going to take me an hour to read it. But thank you, John, for your last comment. Just let you guys know, I have been reading on and off, and you guys are hitting it on the head tonight. I mean, seriously.
You guys are kicking ass, man.
And I'm just going to let Connecticut know, for my fellow Connecticut's or any state like Tiffany, that should look at Connecticut's bill, because on the 30th of October, they're having a mandate LOB meeting, which is our capital hearing. And I don't know which room it is. It's either judiciary or public health. But CPS is being, we call it DCF. DCF is being requested now to have body cameras. So again, these are things that got to happen. And I've already had this happen in the police interaction where the cop says the body camera the film doesn't exist. What do you do? What do you do now?
Okay. Well, now that's tampering with evidence. That's the thing. And the case is thrown out. Now, listen, we've been in cases, and we know of courts, especially, but listen, you even had the case with when my wife was in Kentucky, and the recordings show it, where the judge is literally coaching the GAL and the others of the CPS's case and not adjudicating with neutrality. Of going, doesn't this seem concerning? Doesn't that seem concerning? And addressing people of going, how is this a fair and impartial any damn thing?
The balls. And you got to call them out. You have to call them out, because if you don't make a record.
Here's going to be the issue. Now, we have filed a JCC complaint. There are other things that are in the works. I'm going to leave it at that is going to blow it out. But the question then becomes, once this is investigated by both state and federal authorities, is why didn't every attorney in that courtroom report the judge for the bias in the way she was acting as a court officer, as they're required to do under their ethics obligation, especially unconstitutional bias of saying you hate homeschooling as you rip them away before you even adjudicated anything, saying I hate homeschooling, and then take the kids and put them right into what? Public school against the mother's wishes with no case open. Understand there's only concerns and the room for investigation. When do we steal people's children so we can investigate when there's no evidence of anything on the court record of any crime or anything done? We can just now steal people's children to investigate and then what? Brainwash them against their parents?
Right.
100%.
That's exactly what's going on in Kentucky.
Right. Then put the child in shell shock for the rest of their life because they're going to have now insecurity issues. And is it my camera that's moving slow or something? Because I feel like on my
It's
end,
just that background can sometimes, those digital backgrounds can pixelate a lot, and it's trying to think as it's working because it's adjusting constantly. Sometimes there's issues I've seen happen on Zoom too.
Screwing me, brother.
Yeah, it could be that too.
The court system, what were you just talking about? Gosh dang it, I just forgot. I lost my train of thought.
Well, adjudicating, saying that they can't take in, and that the parents, they don't like homeschoolers or they hate homeschooling, and turn around and yank the kids out and put them in public school because they don't go for that. Well, that's not a judge's decision. Matter of fact, there was an executive order by the president of the United States that those administrative law judges, which they are, which they must follow those rules. That their executive, that their boss tells them to do. You must take, and it's the parent's right. If the parent says no, then we need to come up with a compromise of this or that to where the kids stay with homeschooling somehow and get their education. Nope, I don't agree with that. So I'm going to impose my beliefs as a judge. Listen to this. This is the constitutional issue.
Right.
I'm going to impose my personal belief system upon you and force you to do it. That is a First Amendment violation all day long. And a judge or magistrate does not, or when they do this, they violate their oath and must be immediately removed. That is a felony offense by opening her mouth.
Right.
You should
Chris,
see
Chris wrote, the lady had adopted over 50 kids, including my stepdaughter, homeschooling every day, single. Crazy.
Listen, they are packing their friends and people they know that have foster care homes and this and that, and giving them tons of money, tons of resources, tons of everything else to steal other people's kids while they sit their fat asses at home. And I'm going to call it just as that, and feed them the garbage and everything they want, driving their car is paid for, or their van. They'll get a fleet van and everything else for the kids to run around, and a nice big fucking house that you and I couldn't fucking afford, that has 9-10 bedrooms, and stack that motherfucker 2 kids per fucking room. Now listen, you don't like the way I'm saying.
It becomes a complete center. It just becomes a complete center.
It once again, but it doesn't
Connecticut got shut down, a 2,000 bed school and education center, and what do? They open it up for strictly autistic kids. Come on, segregation is segregation. These kids, if they're in the system, should still have the life to average common friends that they used to have beforehand.
They're not supposed to disrupt the fact of your family's culture and history.
In town, surrounding, they can't say you're going to another town. No, that kid's got to stay where he is.
It's parental advisory, and also for my language or anything else, but CPS is coming. It's up there now. Because look at here. I'm going to talk some straight facts to you, and it may hurt your feelings, and we may piss some people off, but you know what? It's the truth. And your feelings are your damn responsibility. There's another thing. I don't care about your feelings, and anybody that's ever met me will tell you the same damn thing. Gunner don't care how you feel. Gunner's just going to spit the truth at you, and it's going to lay where it lays. Now, we can have a debate over it on whether or not it's this or that. That's fine. But one thing I will not debate over: constitutional rights. Those are absolute. And it's
back to that
supposed to.
story. So when it comes to ties into what you guys were saying earlier, I met a gentleman about a month ago at a rally, and came up to me all happy. Yeah, I'm DCF's coming up to me. They're talking about giving me the child 100%, and she'll be cut out of the picture and the whole amount. And I'm saying, so what are you doing standing here? And he goes, what do you mean? I go, if they were looking to give you the baby, it would be like done at the hospital. You give birth, the doctor, nurse hands the baby to the nurse. The nurse looks at you and says, do you have a car seat in that car? And the parents say, yes, get the hell out of here. So again, why isn't that said to him? Here's the baby. You're the father. Where's the car seat? Go home. But instead, they're going to come up with a case plan, Gunner, and it's going to drag shit out. And it's
because
they
want money. Exactly.
And they're going to find out whether or not what he's going to get is that before having that nurturing love, he's going to get burnt out from the system and say, oh, screw it. I don't need this aggravation.
Listen, guys, it may turn to that, Henry, but I've got to share another story that I reported on this week on my page.
Go ahead.
There was recent events that took and happened to where a 50-50 custody was finally obtained through the courts. The mother did not like the decision whatsoever, began to lash out and talk to anybody she could and just this and that. The judge wouldn't listen. He's abusive, he's that, and here's a bunch of pictures and this and this and that. And there are people that are out there that will believe anything, but the court would not listen to it. That no, we can't say that absolutely happened under this thing. You can't prove it, let alone the dad had extremely limited time with him, that now it was 50-50. Well, the first time dad got an overnight, happiest day of his life you can probably imagine for most of them. I haven't seen my kid, my daughter. Picks up groceries, everything else, is walking to the door of his apartment and is shot and killed.
What?
The daughter then ran around. Dad's dead right there. Groceries all over the place. Somebody from the apartment complex finds him. It's an open balcony. Police come in. The whole story of this, body cam, everything else, you guys go look at it. There's part 2 up on my page, and you guys can go back to that story who posted that originally. And it's a 4-part series that the mother, even in part 4, says, I didn't realize that when I did that I was complaining, and I did share pictures with my stepfather. I did take in this and that. I even offered to buy him gas, but I know that looks bad on me, but I didn't think he would do it. In other words, playing the victim.
Mm-hmm. She's the one that created the
chaos. That the stepfather was the one that executed the father. And here's the thing that'll break your heart now that I've spoiled that little bit for you, but you look through the videos, especially in 2 and some of the other, the child knew. Because the child the whole time is screaming, I love my daddy. Where's my daddy? And then screaming that mommy had done it.
Listen, parents are playing their kids, and it's fucking sick. It is sick.
Listen,
You
now
know what I
listen,
mean?
because of this story, though, now listen what we covered in the beginning of the show, though. How much is this going to happen now that they're going to lash out people that have the custody issues? Listen, that they're going to rebel by committing murder. Because don't say this ain't going to happen, because this is over a custody thing.
Or even the child. Think about freaking Jim Jones, like that whole ordeal. I mean, those women were killing their children, drowning them in the bathtub, like just to have that, just because this
Control.
man was telling them
religious.
to do that. You know what I mean? Like, think about it.
And Barbara Ann could testify to a lot of those things that were going on too. You guys know Barbara Ann. That we're going to get her on the show here one time. But let's seriously look at this. That if we're talking about, and you go watch those videos, and guys, it'll break your heart. But we're talking about somebody that wouldn't let go or share, and didn't want to give up probably the benefits, the child support, and this and this, that. And now it's 50-50 and nobody pays jack to turn around and tell and manipulate another man, her stepfather, to coerce her and then play stupid. And even listen here, the mom knew, if you look, because the interrogation's in there, because the cops played them, sent mama in there with a thing. They know. They're going to know everything about who you talk to, you text to. They're going to look at all that. They know that you talk to your stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
that says all of a sudden I didn't have anything to do with that family for a while, or blah 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 blah, or anything. So that this man got enough in his head, he thought he was doing the right thing of stopping an abuser,
Mm-hmm.
but instead was being manipulated by his
Yep.
by a daughter.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Guys, we need to really, really think and pay attention and educate everybody out there that it's not what you seem. And listen here, and it's not just women, it's men too that will
Mm-hmm.
manipulate the courts and manipulate other people because of who they
Right.
are, narcissists and
Right.
manipulation personality disorders.
Our
Right.
mother-in-law is number one
But
top.
underneath the
We
ADA,
all
wait a
have
minute.
those people.
Underneath the ADA, if somebody is a narcissist or a abuser, do they have the right to um, rehabilitate? And if so,
They
what would
seriously, here's
what
yes,
would
they
be that
do.
right when you say it comes to the child in reintroduction to the child as this is a changed person who got help? Because what you're kind of seeing a picture of is two on the other side. If you don't give him the help, wait, Gunner, if you don't give him the help,
I,
then you're gonna have people are gonna stay quiet and saying, "Oh, look at these mass killings. Oh, that's because that
because
person was a
let,
depressed
let me
person."
let
Blah
me
blah
hold
blah.
on. I'm not
I
saying
don't
that,
know. We're
but let
damned
me
if we
tell you
do, or we're damned if we don't.
the one thing that you'll understand too, if you'll notice what I said in there, those people that manipulate and this and that,
Yep.
and have that personality like that, that'll do that. Trust me, I know from experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they don't want the public to know who they really are.
No, they hide in secret. They're
They
sadistic.
will negotiate their way out. Listen, I'll do this if you
100%.
won't blab this.
Yep.
I will give you this during the marriage, and we'll actually be fair and this and that, so long as you don't put it on the court record and everything that I committed adultery and I ran off with the music minister of the local church.
Yep.
You
100%.
would destroy me. You would destroy my reputation because that means everything to them
I
more
had
than
a
their
mo-
children.
I had my mother-in-law stand on the stand in civil court and degrade her son right in front of her son.
Mhm.
I mean,
Wow.
totally throw him under the bus, his sisters, his brother-in-law, throw him under the bus, and then look at this man and tell him she loves him. What? You don't
That
you
is, listen,
That's
this is why,
narcissistic. Sadistic
listen,
narcissism.
this is why some of the stuff I know Sharon was doing with her show. Um, I can tell you some of the things, especially things that we talked about too, where and a lot of things too were boundaries and circles, and we do
Uh-huh.
not teach people that because if you taught them that, and the reason they don't want people to teach them that, because you will
Mhm.
be able to call out based
Mhm.
on their actions these
Mhm.
people
Mm-hmm.
and know to separate yourself from them because
Mhm.
they are destructive to everyone around them.
Yep.
Well, that's what I find is when you do want to separate yourself from somebody and they are a narcissist, they do everything to fucking come back into your life or
Yeah.
try to get into your life or
It
try
should
Well,
to
have
be
really
and one of the
figuring out
things
what's
too,
going on your life. And what I
well,
love is I'm taking up the real estate in their fucking minds.
now
That's
listen,
what I love the most.
Sharon dealt with a lot of that, and that's one of the reasons they attacked her and took her kids too, was because of her show. Because she
Right.
was calling people out and educating people how to
Right.
identify
Mhm.
this
Mm-hmm.
and what it meant. And these are people, even if they're family members, they're toxic as fuck. Get them out of
Mhm.
your life. And no, don't
Yep.
give that bullshit fucking line.
Nope.
Well, blood's thicker than anything. No,
Nope.
it's not.
Nope. Nope.
That's
100%.
horse shit.
Nope. It's
Mm-hmm.
not.
That's diarrhea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not blood. That's diarrhea that you're playing with that family member.
Literally, you know how much damage a narcissist causes to their children? I mean, I literally heard this man sit there on the stand and he was given opportunity to cross-examine his mother, and he looked straight at the magistrate and said, "My," he said, I don't have any more questions for her. I cannot do this to my mother. Um our relationship is already, on the
And
rocks." And literally,
so, see, once again, we're trying to build a bridge
mhm. But then
over
it's,
something that shouldn't have a bridge built.
yeah, he's like, "I
And
don't want
listen,
that." And I get it.
this
But
is why the saying that my grandfather holds so true, and you guys may have heard me say it before, and I know some of our audience has before, is my grandfather had a saying that I've always took to heart, and it's always held true. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and everything in between is bullshit.
Mhm.
and that honor and integrity is doing the right thing even when no one's looking.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When you instill those type of values into your children and you teach them about circles and boundaries and setting boundaries with people, if you don't this and that, I will cut you out, and know that I will not, and stand your ground of there are consequences for your actions.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps them in line, believe it or
Mm-hmm.
not. Matter of fact, it controls them to not be the ass they are.
Yep.
Because here's the thing, I've seen it demonstrated with even my children and
Mm.
their other side, to where they've
Mhm.
set boundaries and go,
Mhm.
you do this, you will never see us again. You're either going to
Bye bye.
abide by this or not. Yeah, you'll get a warning. And after that, don't you do it. Don't you ever let me catch it, because after that, I catch you one more time, I'm done, and we're done. And I did this once again, over and over again. These narcissists that go through this, I had people that convinced all these things that one of my exes, that I'm a great this, I'm a great that. And I'm over here, I'm like, you're not, though, because anybody that knows you sees your actions and interactions with your children.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, some of the children turn out to be just like what they are, and just as many,
Mm-hmm.
and you see where they do it. It's like, if that's what you're going to be, I love you, but you can't
I
come
gotta
around.
walk away. Yeah, I gotta walk
I
away.
have to. Once again, let me show you how to be an adult. I will not tolerate this just because you're family or even a child. I love you, but I won't tolerate that. And until you can exercise self control,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to allow that to infect what I hold precious. And at some time, you were something precious, but at the same time, you made the choice, the conscientious choice, when you became an adult, that you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do this. And I won't.
Right.
You
Yep.
go off and kill somebody and this and that. I still love you.
I'm still gonna be your parent. I'm still gonna be
I'm
whoever.
still going to be. It's not going to change. But I will not condone the things I know that had led to this, and I'm not going to tell you I told you so. I'm just going to look at you and just, I don't have to say a word. I'm just going to shake my
No,
head and
you
go,
should just know.
Right. Right.
See, that's part of being the parent at the same time, is knowing when to let go and when to do
Mm-hmm.
those things. And I know a lot, especially with you guys out there that say, listen, my children were taken and we didn't see it, this and that. And I had told Sharon this too. I says, listen, you didn't send those kids when they stole and kidnapped those kids from you. They
No,
weren't unprepared. You took,
all the
as
proper.
her and I had discussed,
Mm-hmm.
okay, away from them, to prepare the children when we filed our federal cases, some of the other things, that yes, they are going to retaliate against us and they are going to find a way to use those children against you. And now it's going to bite them in the ass because that appeal's going through.
Mm.
And now you've interfered not only with a federal filing, but an appellate filing to overturn everything, which now the state of Kentucky won't even have a damn case or a leg to stand on. And at the same time, you were warned there was a federal case because she filed something before the first court date under a pro se, and then forced her to take an attorney.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to have to answer not only to their higher ups, but they're going to have to answer to the U.S. Attorney's Office and in civil court and personally. Because, guys, we're going to teach you all along the way as we go through our court case where to file, how to file, and what to do to make sure this is done. That's why we're telling you guys, if you have evidence, get it down on the courthouse. You don't need an attorney to do your appeal. If you can articulate the code, especially
Mm-hmm.
things that are considered standards or must,
Right.
especially rules of evidence for entering such things. Look in those areas under your state codes, because you'd be surprised. Well, that didn't happen. Then it can't be admitted.
And I've
It's
learned
just
along the
that
way,
simple.
because I'm fairly new to the, the legalese aspect of, like, if you really want to beat it, you got to learn it. You just
Yeah.
there's not any way around it. You have to
Black's Law,
learn.
you pull them back to Black's Law Dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
You use this word or
100%.
use this terminology, or you read within the code. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you receive federal funds? Yeah. Do you know you have to meet this federal code to take and receive those funds? Did you apply for reemployment? You can subpoena those things.
Yep.
You don't need your attorney to do that. File your own damn paperwork. And when they turn around, why don't you just go pro se? Well, why don't you get the fuck out of the way and do your job? Because if not, if you don't help me with this, because you're supposed to be there to assist me, I'm going to file ineffective counsel on your ass. And I'm going to take your
and
license.
A lot of cases too, the clerks won't accept filings if you have a public defender. They won't accept them. And what? Excuse me?
Under the ADA, they have to. They have to under the ADA.
I know they do.
And you put it under the ADA accommodations, and you put your grievances
Bob's
there.
your uncle.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
silence you guys.
but they will try and pull that one on you.
Push your objections under the ADA.
Okay, and here's how you do it. That is considered a common area in every courthouse where your court clerk is. You have a right to record whether they know it or not. If your state is a one-party state, especially, you can go in there with something that is recording the entire time, and they can't stop you because that's a public area, not inside the courtroom.
Right.
And you can record the fact, whether audio or video. I need to file this, and be very specific. Just I need to file this. Articulate what you're filing. Right. And when the court clerk said, well, we can't do this, like what Becca was talking about. Well, we don't do this. You have an attorney. That's your answer? You're rejecting a filing? Because here's the thing. The fact that I've made an attempt to drop this off and file it, it's considered filed whether you accept it or not.
Right.
And you just broke the law. And they can argue back and forth and say, don't argue. Thank you. Have a nice day. You know what you've got now? Evidence. Right. And you file that evidence against the clerk's office at your state attorney general's office. Because they have to accept these things. And then you file it over in federal court against them. Now what happens? You're filing against your county clerk, right? Guess what happens? Because you filed a federal case against them, and then you put that on the record. We can't adjudicate this case in this county anymore. Why? I have a court case against your court clerk.
Right.
Here's my change of venue, Your Honor. Your court clerk worked, and I've already turned in the evidence to everybody, and I've already filed here, and here. Put it on the record.
So I have a question. What's the importance of people to get a legitimate stamped from the stamp clock, the blue stamp on your document versus taking a photocopy of what they stamped? I was told federal court will only accept blue stamped briefs as an official filing, not a photocopy.
No,
not original. It's not if you're even with digital upload, you have to scan the document in. So therefore, how are you going to do that to go through it? Now, Alexandria Quinn turns around and says you can file all you want, but the clerk doesn't, and the judge doesn't read it. Well, congratulations when you have that stuff. Then when the judge issues the first order on that, you file an appeal because the judge didn't address what was on the clerk's record. Here's what the appellate court does. It goes back to the court clerk and looks at the filing date, then looks at the court recordings on whether or not it was ignored, and whether or not the clerk or the court or the judge followed the rules of civil procedure, which is a Rule 60 violation. They must address everything that is filed that you bring to the court's attention or is there. If they ignore it, they did the same thing in my wife's case. The attorney says, well, Your Honor, she filed for dismissal pro se, and we need to deal with this. The judge just rolled all over it. Well, that's okay. That goes into the appellate court to show what a corrupt piece of shit you are.
Right.
Yep.
You didn't follow the rules of civil procedure. Those are the rules. The judge, here's the thing. The judge thinks they're all powerful, or the magistrates still, but they still have to follow the rules of civil procedure. They must.
Right.
And yes, you can file an appeal even though it's not a final order. If the judge has issued anything during the course of that, you just look to overturn whatever ruling it is based off of what they have, saying they did not take and look at the evidence that was on file, and they will overturn that ruling. And then your judge, then you'll move for a change of venue due to the fact that it's been appealed. Because here's the other thing. When you file the appeal, you take that stamped appellate case and you put it on file in your state case. because now the state case can't move forward.
Forward.
They have to wait for the appellate court.
Right.
No matter what they do. And if they move on, you notify the appellate court and you file an amended that the court has proceeded, even though they've been notified and it's been filed. And you notice here's a copy of my stamp thing that I put on. Why? Because it's going to have a stamp from what? The appellate court that it's filed. Then it's going to have another stamp with a signature on it from your local court, including the time and or date. But it'll have the date. If you did it before the next hearing and they still considered on, you just violated the rules of fucking civil procedure.
Right.
Now you file.
Another thing they did to me though was one time was they claimed, you know, motions were going forward on Monday by opposing party. I filed some shit. They said I didn't mark my shit ready and they wouldn't hear it. So I had to file a motion to reclaim and have it recalendared and then mark it ready to go. So for the new people, they need to be out looking for this stuff because a lot of people don't understand. There's a marking calendar. You have to give opposing party notice that you're going forward.
Time. Yeah.
So
how do you get under the ADA? You're automatically under the ADA if you have a disability.
You just ADA doesn't have to be marked ready.
No.
ADA is ready to go. You go there and you deal with the person who they call a contact. I prefer designated responsible employee because, again, in Rikers Island settlement agreement, you'll find a good description of that duties, and you'll find out that them duties is a person that is dedicated to the job.
Right.
They have to have monetary control to give you your accommodation. They just can't. Well, let me go ask if I can get that done. Fuck that. You ain't the appropriate person.
You got to ask. You don't know. So don't
You don't know. Period.
So, Alexander said, you know, the appeal, your appeal, we already had an appeal going, and the state went to move the kids. So you set an objection to adjudicate the adjudication ruling and change of placement. And then once again, the appellate court's not going to do that. The appellate court is going to say, here's an order from the court, and then you're going to send in, you want it appealed or changed based off of this wasn't done, this wasn't followed, and this is that. Not your feelings. They violated a rule or procedure that means they can't do what they ended up doing or adjudicating the way that they did.
Everybody just needs to remember that they need to leave their feelings at the door. Yeah, court is not a place for feelings.
A robot.
Okay.
I'm a robot.
I mean,
you really need.
She says they wouldn't get it from an attorney. Okay.
And it's hard as shit because you're living hell. You're living to hell, and I guarantee you, you didn't get an hour of sleep the night before, and you got people that are purposely just fucking with you just to piss you off.
Yeah. So if the appellate court does that to you, kicks it back and says, we're not accepting documents because you came from an attorney and they have it on record, then you use that and you file in the Supreme Court of your state. Okay. Not just your Supreme Court. You can file this under, you know, once again, in federal court too. You file them usually side by side as you can. And where you can, which is they're not going to tell you that. Then you go to the Supreme Court and say, the appellate court said that I can't this and that, even though, and you have to justify your reason, not saying you just can't do that. You have to quote the code, statute, or whatever it is that says that's impossible. Now, Henry's given us one, Your Honor, under the ADA, I don't have to.
Right.
And there's no further explanation.
Or they should have had to.
Yeah.
Or they should have had to.
Then you turn around and you end up filing. Now, here's the other loophole. If it says that and your attorney should have, or you feel your attorney should have, then you report your attorney for ineffective counsel. You failed to do your job because here's the thing. As Tiff will say, as you guys will hear this on Tiff and the Punisher all the time, you work for me, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No
Well,
matter
either
what
follow this
Look to the Bar Association, you're going to have to dig into their effective training for their members. And what you're going to only find is a lot of instances, it's only under Title I training, which is, again, work employment training. You do not work for the state. Do not accept EEOC ruling over you. Yeah. You want a civil rights entity or the designated responsible employee, 28 CFR 35.107.
Now, one thing that'll come back through it that'll reply once again when you can articulate the fact I didn't receive ADA and I didn't get say that
it wasn't published. That wasn't
published. It wasn't a cut machine. I didn't understand what was going on, all these other things, and you put that in your argument that I received no ADA, nor was I offered any ADA or anything during the
Advised.
time of any of it, or advised of
And
anything.
think of it as an educational due process. When in education, the school must give you a 504 notice of your rights.
Yeah.
So again, it's the same exact thing.
And the other thing,
guys.
well, let's look at this too, guys. Remember too, you got to make sure it meets the standard or the format that is acceptable in that court. If you do not have the right format, if it requires a cover letter, and then you have to file something in the appellate court, you have to file something to get an appellate number. Then you have to file your brief. It's not just filing one thing.
No,
You have to file one thing,
Now
and you have to file your
right
brief.
now, Connecticut, they're making you put in hyperlinks and all this other bullshit. Fuck that! I filed a modification. I've actually asked them. Fuck you.
Motion.
You know what I mean?
Motion.
I'm done with this shit. You guys keep changing the burdens. You keep
Nobody
changing
takes
the
ownership,
perimeters.
right?
I think it's New Century, and it's got to be goth bold, and it's got to be a 13, not a 14. So you're making me physically go in there and type in 13 instead of just go and click on 14. And again, what's the font difference? To me, these people pick it up. They pick it up, Gunner.
And they will kick out cases just exactly for that, Henry.
Right.
And once again, under my ADA, you have to accept it in this format because it's the best way I know how to do it as a pro se. And you have to mention the words as a pro se.
Do not have the skill of testing. I do not have the skill of education. I do not have the skill. Hey,
like
listen, I'm telling you right now,
to the same standards as an attorney.
With
it's the same
with
thing.
Them making me use, and I'm going to be honest, people, Gunner sends me the link. I click on it. I'm pretty much stupid when it comes to computers. But again, they're using the computers now to be technically a technical barrier to justice again.
For elderly people.
I saw an article the other day that actually these court clerks have been writing these damn orders using Chat GPT, and it's been
that's all over it. Yes, they're having federal hearings over that. The Congress is pissed.
Yeah,
I think it was not. It was Grassley's office. It was Grassley's office that made the statement. They're pissed, and they're going to get. Listen, Grassley's on fire this year, guys. I'm telling you right now. There's some people to look at. Clay Higgins, he's on fire. There is so much fire going on. And again, this is why the Dems want to keep it closed. They're going to be fucking punished for the crimes they've committed for the last 35 years. That's the God's honest truth, in my opinion.
Literally,
and if we got to eat goddamn cat and dog for the next 3 weeks, let's do it.
Kitty 24 says she was kicked out of Soaks for being a day late, in her appeal. So listen, that you still have a right because it was kicked out of this and that.
Isn't it a guideline? Isn't the state policies and procedures nothing more than a guideline?
Yes, it's a guideline. It's a
guideline. So
listen, but see, no. It's no. Hold on. It's not a guideline anymore because of recent rulings and everything. It is no longer up to the judge's discretion. They now must follow it verbatim in all states. That's been quashed under the administrative law judges. Administrative law judges no longer have the discretion under that and other case law that is overturned. They must follow the codes. In other words, you don't get to interpret.
And you're going to hear that when it comes to the ADA.
That's not what their job.
Yeah.
You're going to hear that when it comes to the ADA. Oh, you got to go see the judge. Judge is going to be honest. Wrong. Tennessee Lane says it starts at the administrative level. Upon me walking in, that's the court service center has to give you modifications all the way to the time the sheriff takes your ass away for not paying your child support. So,
well, Kitty 24, let's address this thing, how she was kicked out for a day late. You need to, we're not giving you legal advice. Once again, we are not attorneys or anything like that.
Look it up yourself.
If that situation, everything else, and I want you to research it and find it out for yourself, I would file a motion to amend or motion to appeal that decision of dismissal or whatever it is, and you can file it under ADA. I was not given access or resources of this, and that, was not able to do this and that, or the court clerk would not assist me. There are multiple things you can use. For example,
you use your own
if you're given listen,
You
we've
use your
talked
own
about this between
ADA
us.
forms in violation of, like in JDS, I think it's
Yes.
JD 35. Is Connecticut's form. I just did the exact same thing in my appellate court, and it says you still have not complied with my son's civil rights of Gideon. You still have
Yeah.
not complied with the ADA. You still have not complied with identification of 28 CFR 35.107, because there needs to be a discrimination complaint filed and an investigation. It's an investigation free of charge,
Trigger.
equal the
Yeah.
same as I don't want to say this, but it is like a rape victim, because when they're raping you of your civil rights, in my opinion, is no different than anyone else who gets raped, even all the way down to a lollipop. You're stealing from a child.
But listen, there's multiple things for Kitty to do on this, because let me give you an example. The federal court has got a very exposed system. We're going to let you guys know this too, that Becca and I have ran into, and I believe several others have ran into, to where the judge has issued an order to where you can electronically file because you have to get permission. Now, that is an order not just to you, but to the court clerk to allow it through the system, like Pacer. Now, Pacer, you can sign up, that's fine, and you're going to have sometimes some hiccups in this and that, take you a week or two to do this and that. And then you turn around and go to the court clerk, say, hey, I have a Pacer account. Can you connect the two in this? Yes, I'll turn it on. But it's a two-step process.
Yes,
It's a
and people don't
two-step
understand
process.
that.
You
People don't
now have to turn it on. You have to connect the two. So now in between there, a lot of cases, I've heard a lot of people say, well, I had issues with the electronic filing and then my case was dismissed. No, you can still file an appeal or an motion for reconsideration due to the fact the court clerk failed to fulfill the orders the judge instituted, because that falls on, because you don't have control over it. That means that dismissal isn't, listen, there's a difference between a dismissed case and a closed case.
Or they can tell you that your motion for electronic filing is sustained, and that means that and have the clerk court tell you, or the clerk of the clerk court's office tell you that you don't, that's not what that means. It doesn't mean approved, and they can try and lie their way out of that one.
Well, and once again,
basically, it's going on with me right now is the exact same thing what we're talking about.
It's happening
in this weekend. So tomorrow morning, my plan is to go in there and give them the option. Either you throw the switch in 30 seconds because it's been 4 days of fucking with me, or else I swear to God, I'm filing a DOJ complaint against you.
Once again, it comes back to, there's a record. Here's the other thing. There's always a digital footprint, and this works. This doesn't work in their favor, because they're going to go in and they're going to look at that, and then they're going to cross-reference it between incoming calls and scan of this and that when there's an investigation of this, and this is what they don't want. And then they're going to look at the digital footprints. When did you give them access? Because as of this date, that was supposed to be, the court clerk went in there and turned it on anyway.
Right.
And a lot of them don't know that they even have to do it.
They even sent me the form. They even sent me the form with the passwords, and it still ain't up and going.
Well, and once again, it has on their end. Once again, that is not your, listen, guys, listen to me very, very good. Even if some of you have done it before and you don't understand, you can file under an ADA if your case has been dismissed and this and that, and even go back in and say, I couldn't file due to your ruling was not filed. This
technical barriers and denial of access.
Listen, there you go. That's ADA, and you can use it and get your cases reinstated, especially into these federal court systems, because why? It wasn't your fault. You don't control them.
Nope.
It's not like, listen, if I go in something, let me put to you real simple, and I'm going to give you a stupid example. And I'm not saying this from experience or anything else, but the way they're structured, because I know webmasters and guys that design these things. If I want access to something, say anything, even here's the other thing that people don't want to admit. If it wasn't for pornography, the internet would have never been born. This is the true fact.
Judicial. Yep.
So those are truths we don't want to face. They have an ugly past to them of how things were created. But if I want to sign up for a membership for something, I can't get access
Mm-hmm.
until I put this in with, say, a credit card or something like that. And then I pay for a monthly fee or a dating site or any of those other things out there that you pay as you go. Those are examples that everybody knows about, even though we don't know about it. Bullshit. I call bullshit. You know about these things, or somebody knows about it. The point is that for you to do these things, and then your credit card's on file. And then it's because they have that, they have a way of collecting. You have to hit this, you have to hit this, and this is the next step, and this is the next step. Now you have access, but the access control is on their side, not mine. And the judge ordering it doesn't include that, say, we give you permission to do it. It means that the court of clerks has to turn it on and make it accessible. Now, if I've called in 2 or 3 times, like what Becca and I were talking about, and I know that Henry's dealing with now that we've already been through, yeah, we went ahead and did it. And yeah, they went ahead because they couldn't hear from us. That's not my fault.
Mm.
And you cannot use that. There's the thing about the law and the court system. You can't use that against me. If the clerk's office failed to do their responsibilities, which I don't understand with this particular system, because they're not trained properly, is what it comes down to be honest with you. Because I had to call back a couple times and finally, listen, I could do this, but I can't file. You have to turn it on. I said, listen, this happened to several people I already know about. Turn it on to where I can file, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
I just called here over a week ago and been messing with it, thinking it's part of Pacer's issue. It's not part of
Yep.
Pacer's issue. It's part of
I
this
told you,
issue.
nope.
And it's not. It's the court of clerks issue. Who's
Listen, I'm
doing this
telling you.
job to turn this on that you don't hold me on the phone? Okay, let me walk you through, sir. Are you on
I
the
had to
Pacer
call
thing?
3
Just like
different times.
several times I called.
I called 3
It-
different
and
times.
it
They
still
Go
told me
wasn't
down there
on.
and file a motion, because these people are not your friends. You want to put them
No,
on notice that you're looking for their job and their pension.
but
I'm
you have
sorry.
got to
That's the only
communicate
thing that
with the
will do
court with
remedy.
your filings and file the paperwork to say, Your Honor,
That's the burden.
I didn't, because the judge doesn't know unless you communicate. And how do you communicate with the court? With your filings.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
That's
when the
burden.
judge sees it, or the magistrate, and goes, wait a minute, we went ahead and dismissed the case, or we went ahead and did this, this, and that. But wait a minute, the reason we dismissed it was because of no response and these other things, but it wasn't their fault.
Right.
I can't penalize them for it.
See, my opinion is, once you even raise it now the burden of punishment is going to be even greater against you. So they're really going to start screwing with you night and day. So just be prepared for it. So anyone thinking that we're saying, oh, this is going to fix all, no, it's the fact of that without doing what you're doing, you have no due process right to appeal anything. You have
But
no
listen,
discrimination. You have no
this
record of it.
digital thing, though, Henry, is a huge thing across the
That's if you
United
can
States.
figure it out. I'm old
And it's
school,
to
brother.
keep
I
these
like walking in
cases
and getting a
out
stamp.
of the court.
You
Yeah,
know?
and like you were saying, like the clerk, like to hold the clerk accountable, right? That's an even bigger joke. Because I actually filed a complaint on my clerk. I filed a complaint, and
Right.
I called the clerk administrator, and she was, or the court administrator, actually, she was the only helpful person in the whole freaking courthouse, I swear to you. She's the
Right.
only
Yeah.
person that was helpful, and she was like, yeah, I can take your complaint. I don't know where it goes per se, because I guess they don't, that just
No.
told me right there, they don't get complaints. And I'm like,
No.
well, I want to put in a complaint. So I put in a complaint, right? Put in this complaint, give her a detailed chronological list of every day that happened, everything that happened. This judge literally was the one that signed off on my waiver, right? On my waiver for fees. She's the one that dealt with my my complaint. So then I tell her that that's a clear conflict of interest, because, well, everybody, wouldn't that be a conflict of interest if you had a hand in my waiver? I mean, and I'm one of the complaints is the fact that it didn't get approved, or it had been approved for 5 days before they even filed it. That's a conflict of interest. So then I go and I file a complaint with the judicial board. They find no violations.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I'm
Listen.
sitting here like, are you guys being
But
By
say,
the time you
listen,
can even get heard on your matter, they're already on a rotation schedule.
Yeah.
So they're already rotating clerks from court to court to court, so they can make claim, well, that person no longer works there.
Right.
I don't care.
You know, and again, I've noticed this with the Department of
But
Developmental
but
Services. They're
listen,
called
guys,
case managers.
you can
They're changing
sometimes
every 3 years.
attract more with honey than you do vinegar, as the
Mm-hmm.
old saying goes.
Yep.
Of just saying, you know what? I get it was an error. Can you please notify the judge or the magistrate that there was an error and that we've corrected it? I've went ahead and filed this. And I get you guys are frustrated in this and that, but once again, that's one of those things too. That once again, when I said that, I actually told the clerk, I said, "Listen, it's not turned on. It's here, and there. Could you notify the thing because I'm going to be filing some appeals because of this error. It caused me great damage in the process of my case, and then
Yeah.
understanding there's a difference between a dismissed case and a closed case because you still have access to file in
Right.
this that because there are cases that errors do happen and you have
You
to
still
have a
have
way of
you still have
communication.
you still have access. I mean, to do it in a closed case because my
Yeah.
case was closed from the second day. I mean, so it was like, oh, okay,
Well,
well, and they still, you know, they still let
once
me
again,
file.
it
So
just seems really odd to once again the judge is just flabbergasted because once again you didn't file anything. Well, that's because I didn't have access. On
hmm
top of we had interference from the person we were filing and intimidation and retaliation for filing this case by not only one state but two states now that it has to go on the record. Your Honor, we were dealing with immediate issues on top of we couldn't get into the court clerk to do this and this and that. And they interfered with our federal filings as well as our appellate filing that are now on the record. But we had some immediate issues. And what do you think is going to happen when you kidnap children? Now the judge is going to look at it in a whole different light of going, oh, why? Because the evidence is on file now. And
hmm
now it looks like something completely different. Now you're not dealing in the other thing when you overturn your state case that I found out too that is completely different. You don't have to get around Rooker versus Feldman.
Not if you're using the ADA,
not
you
in
can
the
go right
state,
away.
no.
See ya.
And
See
But
in
ya.
the
I'm saying
federal court,
a
you
lot
do.
of their
Their
arguments,
immunity's been removed. There's
my
so many.
but it's been over. The point is that the state has then admitted that a crime has happened because they overturned the case. There's a
I
big
see what
difference.
you're
There's less.
saying.
There's no
I would have
arguments then.
still led right now with the ADA. Then would have gone for the parents' rights underneath Rooker Feldman.
Rooker Feldman,
But
On Chat GPT, on Allison was saying about that.
Alicia.
You know, I'm not sure about Chat
Alicia,
GPT because I'm trying to load stuff in there and I'm having a hard ass time. We need to get somebody
Henry,
who's an
we
expert.
need to get you on like a class, a trainer class for just like the internet because
Listen, a
but
13-year-old smarter than
I'm
me.
telling you right now, Chat GPT is literally your best friend. Don't care. Anybody can knock it all they want, but Chat GPT, if it is set up correctly,
they listen.
I heard it's about the
Anything.
I
right
Listen.
input.
had
Listen. Hold
If
on.
I
the
Hold
had
on.
right
Hold
to
on.
questions
Hold
asked.
on. Whoa.
Go ahead.
Anything can be used as a tool to aid us, but
yes,
so long as it's not a crutch, it
correct.
does not negate the fact that we still have to do our homework. We
Well,
still
yeah,
have to dig
Yeah.
down the
Oh,
holes.
yeah.
But well, I'm just going down it because a lot of impressions that are being left with it, it's a one size fit all and it has all your
no,
answers.
Right.
No.
no,
It
you have to
points you
fact
in a
check it. You
general
have to,
direction and
yes,
you still have to do the legwork.
correct.
So
Well,
And
my
here's my
there
thing,
are
Greg.
so many people filing stuff today that have found Chat GPT. The court systems are aware of there's little bugs or little tells in
right.
these things, even with all of them, even open law and several other AIs that turn around and going, that's great, but it's just a format and it's just it. But once
Yeah, but
again, it's not going to give you everything. And that's one thing that
so
we
wait a
have
minute.
to make clear.
If it's designed off the last 35 years of inappropriate case law, right, or not applicable to our constitutional rights, then wouldn't it come up with the wrong answer? It would come up with their answer and
Okay.
allow the
Here's the
system to
thing:
keep
you have to
pushing
have
their
it
agenda.
set.
Let
You
me
have
give
to
you
have
a
it
piece
set
of
properly.
information that ChatGPT does not
Mhm.
have access to. One, case law and everything else predated before it's digitalized. It's still on the books, even from the 1800s, never been overturned, still exists. But ChatGPT cannot get
No
those
clue.
resources because it's not in a digital format for it to pull
So
from.
So it comes back to what you're actually feeding it is what you're
It
actually
helps
going to
if
get
you
for an answer.
remind it,
If
Alexandria.
it's been digitalized, it's a digital platform.
What did
There
Becky
are-
say? What did you say, Beck?
I told Alexandria that it has to be, you have to remind it. Sometimes you do have to remind it, because I will read something that it has done for me and I'll be like, well, wait a minute here. But remember I said that, oh yeah, that's right. And then it will and then it will be like, oh
It's
yeah, you did
not.
say that.
It's a
Now, is
great
this the free
tool.
version or a paid version that you guys are using?
I have a paid version. So,
because I used a basic, and then I tried going intermediate, and then I tried going
No.
advanced, and the whole thing shuts down.
no, I have a paid version. I have the paid
Listen,
version.
do you know how many cases in American history? What one of the advantages of attorneys should have is pulling out laws that are still on the books
Mhm.
that have never been overturned and apply them in cases today that they will argue this, and that, but they can't turn around and say, well, Your Honor, but this case has never been overturned. There are even, listen, they even do, I do, the people that do this for stupid reasons, this and that, of saying the oddest case laws or laws that are still on the book in states
Mhm.
for sex.
I'm sunshine
You
law.
can't do this because it's against the law. You can't,
Mhm.
do this against, and they get really colorful with it. But most people don't understand. It's not been digitized. It's
Mhm.
still in the law books. It's still in the law library, and it's never been overturned.
Unpublished cases I find to be the strongest ones. Why? Because the government don't want you to know. So they take this little case, they
Thank
shift it to the
you.
side, and
There's
they
a
don't talk about
reason
it.
they
And we
don't
keep going down this
digitize
main
those
lane.
cases.
So that's when you have
Because
to get into the libraries, do your physical search, do your book search, do your research on Lowest
Yep.
Law, Westlaw, and combine all your data together. Then take it to ChatGPT
even those
to write the
digital
brief.
law things don't have everything uploaded to them, guys.
No, they don't.
They
No.
don't. You have to
I
go to an
literally-
old-fashioned cross-reference books that
Yep.
will tell you where to look. There's books on how to look at case laws that are cross-referenced that deal with your topic. It's
I had
not
an attorney tell me
old-fashioned
that.
search
I had an
engine.
attorney do that.
Right.
He literally told me with my housing issue, like I reached out to try to get some legal aid for my housing issue, and he said that they couldn't help me, but he gave me case law. He said it's not
Mhm.
published. He said, but he gave me the references to the case law that I needed to use in my state because of the simple fact that I could go to a law library and I could look, but I couldn't do it. I wouldn't find it online, and I didn't. I didn't find it online.
Right.
Now, ChatGPT, I tell you, will. And it was funny because with my housing issue, I literally had in the last motion that the defendant, the MMHA, made against me, he accused me of having AI generated blah 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 this and this. Well, here's the kicker, and he said that this case was not. He could, by his extensive research, he could not find this case. Tell me why I found this case, but because one of the letters was different, it cited it wrong, so he couldn't find it. So he did his due diligence. No, he did not. You idiot. I'm like, are you serious?
Here's
I'm like,
the other thing
on
a lot
this
of people
on
don't
this
know.
whole subject
Listen,
of the states thing, you do know the ADA is 50 different states, and the ADA could actually be looked at as a national law too, because again, we're the human rights treaties of the UN. So guys, everything applies. It's interacted. Don't care where your state is. You don't have to strictly apply your own state laws. If it's been applied to another situation, another state, another county, federal, it can be applicable to you because what one Title II entity has for an affirmative obligation, all have.
if it's listen, guys, if it's federal, you know what? One thing you need to watch for: how much money is budgeted for the Library of Congress to
Yes, sir.
digitize.
Mm-hmm. How much money they
It is
allocate to
so
these places is crazy.
underfunded.
Oh yeah.
How much? Any idea? 100 mil?
It's nowhere near what it needs to be, and they said it would take a decade to catch up.
No shit.
And it's so underfunded, and this is why they don't want to fund it, because if it goes into the Library of Congress and then it's digitized because it's federal,
right,
that means it goes into the search engine,
right, and it would totally destroy their whole mission. It would.
Original Constitution versus the second Constitution,
The
guys. That's a
computer
real
will
thing.
not allow anything but fact. And the fact says the Constitution is the overarching reach of the every law underneath it, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
again, it's again, I love Jessica Saxon's words on that, but you know what I mean? Again, it's just where I feel it's crazy. Hey, you know, we've been talking our asses off for 2 hours. Is this one of your records, or is this just a normal
No,
show?
we've had a couple
Every
of
time I
2-hour
see you come
shows,
on these shows, it's a 2-hour show.
but listen, it's been we've had a lot of
My bad, Gunner. I don't know
show.
how I did
Yeah,
that.
you,
The late show is just under the chat. It just turns it off and on. Up at the stream. It's not a big deal. There we go. Guys, a lot of this has got to do with we have a lot to cover. And the idea is we're going to give you as much information as we can. If we need to spend that extra time, especially on this show, being the late show and nothing follow us, we have that beauty of doing that. We love you guys for following us, guys that are watching us on multiple different platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, several others that are out there. YouTube, I don't know if we've got some of this. Once again, I'm banned from YouTube, so obviously I don't think the show would go.
no, it's not true. That's why I watch and participate a lot myself, because I'm only YouTube and Facebook myself.
But listen, guys, there's because we stretch across so many time zones and we're on Eastern time.
Oof, that's
Once
the
again,
hard
California doesn't get to us sometime till much later, so understand it may be 11:28, almost 11:30 here. We're almost at a 2-hour mark with our show, but the amount of information that's been in this 2 hours is so overwhelming to sift through. It's unbelievable. So what are you going to do? It's going to blow your mind.
And if you're from California and you got mad skills and you want to talk, we're willing to talk, because we'll take the super late show. Because I think that would be another.
Yeah, CPS.
Hey,
Yes, CPS.
that would be
Honey,
another
listen.
good aspect to have. You know,
CPS victims is actually, there is talk of bringing back the late night show, especially to go through there. It's something that's in the progress. Work with us. We're building out, as you can see.
we're trying to
our
get a
shows
morning
are
show
changing.
going.
And don't forget the Henry show every Saturday.
Yeah.
He's got his time slot there. What are you at 7 o'clock?
Guys,
8 o'clock?
we're like Alcoholics Anonymous, man. We got to be open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, because this is how it is. To make the fight, it's got to happen this way.
And Henry, thanks for being here. Our condolences to you and your family for your loss.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Henry. We'll talk to you here soon. Becca, once again, thanks again for popping on through here. We've had a lot to discuss, and I hope we've educated everybody to really go out there and fight a little bit different and get a little bit more education, especially through navigating through these court systems that are so difficult. Thanks again for being with us, Becca.
Thanks, Gunner.
Guys, once again, here at Gunning for CPS, we want to thank you again for joining us. Catch us again next week, same bat time, same bat channel, as the old saying goes. 9:30 every Sunday night, Eastern Standard Time. Once again, if you missed our show or you want to share our show, please understand, go to our YouTube channel, Gunning for CPS with the number 4. That's right. And you can watch a rebroadcast of this over there. Don't forget to check out the website, the network website at CPS Hunting Justice. CPSBreakingNews.com. Sorry, it's been a lot busy. And thanks for joining us. Support our other shows. Check out the other shows that are on the website. We greatly appreciate you. Share this and educate with it. Now, guys, you don't want to miss next week. Okay, we're going to have a huge update on the case, the reckoning case, the tip of the spear case that is going to move forward in what we've done and educate you more on these processes and what to do in your cases to hold people accountable. We thank you again. And like I said, check us next week. And don't forget to share our link. Have a great week.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.
Spinning tales, no truth to tell. Lying lips like a prison cell. Judges blind, caseworkers